my couch. It can't be me. And like, what annoyed me with her was she's like, oh, well, the Bible says that you shouldn't be nagging a man and this and that, and if you don't have anything nice to say, girl, bye. They were talking about your husband, and even still then, I don't agree with that part of whatever teaching some of these religious people have, because no. If it is making you become more drained and is taking away more than it's doing good for you, girl, he needs to go. So as you guys see by the title, the book is called The Devil Thought He Had Me, and it's by Nell. So this is like I would say this is like a Christian, like urban fiction type of book. It does have Bible verses and things like that in it. So if you're not like big on like the kind of religious type books, like this might not necessarily be a book for you. I wouldn't say it's necessarily in your face, like religiously, like Christian. It wasn't like that, but it was, I would say it would be a book for someone better suited if they were like involved in church or like believed in God or believed in like Christian beliefs. This would be like more so of a fit for you compared to someone that's completely atheist and they're just like, you know what, these characters are ridiculous. So there goes that disclaimer. Now, the first character that I want to talk about is Jenna. Okay, because Jenna is crazy. Jenna, she was the most memorable for me, if that's a word, and if it's not, I am making it up. Because she was the most, not necessarily noteworthy, but she was the one where it's like, girl, I will never forget your ass. Because she has so many kids that it's not even funny. So she was saying, like, she has Shayla, right? Shayla's her one daughter. She's saying that her father has not been around, never been around. Shantae has never really been around because he's been locked up since she was 2. Sharmika, and she was saying that Sharmika's father only comes around because he wants some butt, and his name is Sherm. And then she was saying Craig, he basically is the one that lives with her because they have Craig Jr. together. So all 4 of her kids are by different men, and all of these men are deadbeat as ever. They're terrible. These men are terrible. Honestly, Craig is the definition of a damn couch potato. Like, he really will just sit there, watch her bust out all these hours at work. Then she comes home. She's cleaning up after the kids. She's cleaning up the house. She's taking care of, like, bathing them, getting them ready for bed, cooking and stuff. And then he's like, oh, why'd you come home so late? What? First of all, don't question me on where I've been when I've been working and you've been sitting here on my couch. It can't be me. And like, what annoyed me with her was she's like, oh, well, the Bible says that you shouldn't be nagging a man and this and that, and if you don't have anything nice to say, girl, bye. They were talking about your husband, and even still then, I don't agree with that part of whatever teaching some of these religious people have, because no. If it is making you become more drained and is taking away more than it's doing good for you, girl, he needs to go. And what annoyed me with her is like, girl, like, you either you on one side of the fence or you out. Either you gonna go to church and you gonna be for real, or you gonna stop. Like, let's not. What's the point? You cannot sit here and apply these religious beliefs to some guy that you got a kid with and y'all just living together, and no, girl, I can't take you seriously. Like, I just can't. I can't take you seriously. My nose itches, so excuse me, you guys. But Jenna, I was like, this girl is absolutely crazy. And then she even tried to throw shade at one point in the book at one of her friends, like, oh, I'm glad I'm not like Samantha or Shannon, because one of them is crying over their husband that's done left, and the other one, like, I was like, girl, you ain't got no space to be throwing shade. She basically was saying, like, oh, having a man in the house is better than no man. Girl, please. Absolutely not. So I couldn't agree with her there, but I remember her because she had a lot of audacity. So it was just like, you know what? Whatever. So then you have Samantha, right? So she has a son. Her son's name is Mason Jr. So the husband's name was Mason. And the thing, I felt bad. I kind of felt bad for her because her husband Mason, like, basically their divorce kind of just, well, their marriage kind of just faded. Like, it's not like they necessarily, it didn't really necessarily say they fell out of love with each other, but she was saying they were arguing a lot. And after a while, all that arguing, like, you guys do start to lose feelings. You guys start to move apart. But what I felt bad for her on was that Mason got married to Keisha not even a year before they were divorced. And it's like, once you are divorced, yes, it's final. Like, I get it, it's final. But it hurt her feelings because she's like, how the hell did you move on and get married to someone else so quick? Like, but I feel like a lot of men do that. They move on and they get married again and they act like it was nothing. I don't know. Once the marriage is over, it's over. Like, so if you find happiness with someone else in 4 or 6 months, more happiness you don't have with that person you were with for years, so be it. It is what it is. Like, there's no time limit for some people on how long it takes for them to feel like they done met their soulmate or that they done met the one. So that's what's going on with Samantha. I could kind of relate to her because, like, when she was seeing Mason Sr. and stuff, she was kind of feeling like it was difficult to see him because she's like, dang, like, I still kind of would want to jump your bones if I could. And it even gets to the point where she pops up at his house, trying to surprise him and trying to have, like, a treat for, like, the dog that Mason and Keisha just got for the son. And unfortunately, Keisha opens the door and Keisha's like, you know what? I get what you're on. It's real cute. But you need to accept the fact that what y'all had going on is done. This is my husband now, and sis, don't play with me. Like, and Keisha kind of does taunt her a little bit. Like, oh, you had him and you couldn't handle it. Like, I don't like when new girlfriends do stuff like that in books or even in, like, reality. I don't like that because it's like, to me, like, I don't know. I'm just not that kind of person. I'm not the kind of person to be like, oh, well, you had him and this and that. Like, I'm not that petty. And I can be petty, but that right there, that's, to me, sometimes pettiness really just shows, like, sis, are you miserable? Like, what's going on here? Because after a certain age, petty, you got some underlying issues. And that's how I felt about Keisha. Like, I get it, you're his stepmom now, but you ain't have to do that lady like that. Like, yeah, she probably shouldn't have popped up unannounced, but it's not like she came over in lingerie or nothing. She came over with stuff for the dog, with her son. So I was like, you don't have to treat her like that. You didn't have to do her like that. But Keisha felt like, you know what, I'm standing my ground, and it is what it is, right? So now, who was I about to talk about? April. April is going through it. Because now that her and Derek are divorced, April's realizing stuff costs money. And April's kind of spoiled and a lot of bit bougie. Because she has a housekeeper named Maria. Maria's like her maid. And April is very spoiled. Okay? You can tell she was a daddy's girl. You can tell that her father did for her. And that her father was one of those, like, fathers of, you know what? Don't even cry about it, baby girl. You can have daddy's Porsche, and you can have my credit card, and you can have all of this and that, and go spend until you feel better. You can tell her father was like that, because that's kind of how it sounds like her marriage with Derek was. And they also have a kid together. I don't remember if his name was, like, Derek Jr. or what. The son's name doesn't matter right now. But she realizes that now that they're divorced, and although they do have a kid together, Derek hits the point where he's like, you know what? I'm not about to be supporting your lifestyle. You need to do something with yourself. So she was even complaining like, oh, I'm mad that I still have Maria as our maid. I wanted a new maid like Derek has at his house and this and that. And I'm like, girl, beggars cannot be choosers. You need to be happy you even got a damn maid at your house still. Like, let's be grateful, sis. And she goes shopping. What store was she at? She was at Newman Marcus. Now, I don't know if I'm just cheap or what, because I didn't even know what the hell that was. For a second, I thought that was one of the characters' names. That's how behind on stuff I am, because I just don't get into stuff like that. I honestly thought it was a person. She even went into Nordstrom and she's trying to buy pizza. No, that says Plaza. Well, she's trying to buy bags. She's trying to get stuff. She's trying to buy mad stuff. And unfortunately, when she hits the one cash register, they're like, oh, ma'am, your card isn't working. So she's like, oh, just try it again, or here, just try this card. And every card keeps saying decline. So then she goes to the ATM, and it's still not working. So now she has to call Derek, like, Derek, what is going on? And Derek really tries to play her, right? I hate when people do this. Like, if you know what I'm calling for, no, don't try and play me. He really tries to play her, like, what's the problem? What's wrong? So when she tells him, like, what's going on with my bank account? Why can't I spend money? Like, I'm trying to sit here and buy stuff. What's going on? Derek tells her flat out, like, yeah, I'm not supporting your lifestyle no more. I'm here for our son, and that's about it. You need to figure your life out. And she even tries to call her father, trying to plead her case to her dad. And even her dad is like, girl, you need to grow up. It's time for you to get a job. And I was proud of her because I thought she was going to mope around and cry for a damn week. And she really didn't. She actually found a job and she actually started working. And I was proud of her for that because I was like, if you don't get this together, you are going to be in some trouble. Now, the other friend you have is Shannon. And Shannon, she has 2 kids, right? She has 2 kids. I want to say that they're twins. So she has London and Leon, right? And she's also, okay, so I already said she's already friends with all of them. But I think she kind of sort of almost seemed like the one at first that had her life kind of the most together. To an extent. Like, she works a lot of hours. I will say that. She is hardworking and she works a lot. But it kind of seemed at first like Shannon had her life the most together. Her kids obviously drive her crazy because whose kids don't drive them crazy? And she was saying she hates it when she comes home from like a 12-hour shift and then she has to pick up from her kids. That's annoying as well. So, I get it. I'm trying to see what I was about to say. I just lost my entire train of thought. But what brings them all together? So that was like basically all of their little parts. But what brings them all together is they have like these like every quarter, I guess you could say, maybe like every quarter of the year, they have like these like girls conferences that they do or girls meetings that they do where one of them, okay, there's a fruit fly. One of them like will sit here and choose like, say they choose like a restaurant they're going to go to, or they'll choose like a spa or somewhere they're gonna like have like this brunch like meeting together. So they'll all sit here and they'll talk and they'll discuss basically what they're going through, and they pray together and stuff like that. And you know, I get like fellowship is important when you guys are all trying to stick to the same like beliefs and stuff. And I know a lot of churches do that. They'll do like maybe women's brunches and stuff like that. So that's what they do, but it's mainly among the 4 of them. What I found interesting, I'm about to sneeze. If it's not one thing or it's another. So, oh my God, what was I about to say? That sneeze just took my whole thought process away. What I found interesting was each of the girls, they kind of admired something about the friend. So there wasn't like, well, in the beginning of the book, it's not like they were competing against each other. It's not like they were like bashing each other extremely, like, or like, oh, you know what, my life is better than hers or whatever. So the one girl, it wasn't April, I think it was Shannon, I had said, had did that. She did that for like a second, whatever, in the beginning of the book. But the one, okay, so I'm going to be honest, you guys. I don't remember exactly who called who. But I did like the part where one of the friends did call. And she was like, you know what? I admire your drive. I admire your hustle. I admire how much you work. I admire the way you take care of your kids. And to me, it's just like, that is like so underrated, I think. I think that's so, I think people should do that in their friendships more. You should tell your friends you love them more. You should be more, show your friends that you're proud of them. Show your friends that you care about them. Show them that you admire them with your words and stuff. There's like that phrase, and I don't know if it's just like something that church people say, but there is that phrase of like, I'm going to mess it up, obviously. But, like, give people their flowers before they're dead and gone. Give people their flowers while they can still smell them. So I appreciated that the girls were doing that even early in the book. Now, I am not the most religious person anymore, you guys. So this book really, like, I liked it at some points, but then other points where they were like extremely deep in prayer, or they were like really like deep into Bible verses and things like that. That's kind of the part where I was like, you know what, let's just turn a couple pages, because I'm just not at that stage in my life anymore. It's not like I'm an atheist. It's not like I don't believe in God. I'm just not at that stage anymore. That's like the best way to put it. That's the best way to put it. That's the best way to put it. So it wasn't necessarily like I didn't like the book. I just think if maybe I had read it some years ago when I was more like Christian, I guess, or more like religious, I would have enjoyed it more. So to give it a star rating, I would give it like a 4 on the dot star rating. There were a few like spelling errors throughout the book. There were a few grammar errors, but she's working that out with her editor and her publisher as well. So you can't fault someone for that when they're willing to acknowledge things like that and they're saying they're working on it. The book was on Kindle Unlimited, so that's a bonus. You don't have to worry about going out and trying to spend crazy money on it. One day you guys are all going to listen to me and get Kindle Unlimited, because you really can't go wrong with it. So I did my best to give this a spoiler-free review. I didn't want to give anything away that would have sat here and made you feel. However, I was the most proud of Shannon on figuring her life out. I want to say that's what I'm talking about, the one with all the damn kids. I was the most proud of Shannon, because she was, Jenna. Why do I keep calling her Shannon? Jenna is the one I'm thinking about. Jenna, I was the most proud of her, because I was like, yes, girl, like, let's figure it out. Let's, we gotta do something. We have to do something. So, for now, you guys, I am out.